sparkle and shine.
It's actually a Christmas carol singing episode.
Oh, say, can you see? That's the American national anthem. That's not a carol. I don't know any carols.
Oh, come all ye.
That's what I was going for. Hello and welcome back to The Comfort Zone. We are your hosts, Ray Mitchell and JC Fry. I realise that we never introduce ourselves, and if you're finding us for the first time, hi.
I didn't even think about that.
No, I know.
Some of you might not know who we are, or
Yeah.
even know our names.
Because we've had some people join purely through finding us through our podcast, and otherwise we just kind of think that everyone knows, like, they might think I'm JC and you're Ro.
Yeah.
You never know.
That doesn't feel right.
Well, obviously not, because I'm Ro and you're JC.
I think we should swap for a day. No, I don't think we should.
I don't think you want that.
I wouldn't mind. It'd be
You wouldn't
intriguing,
mind.
interesting.
Walk a mile in these liquids. Why does every episode start with us crying?
Just chaos.
Anyway.
Chaos.
Anyways, welcome back to The Comfort Zone. Today, I literally have tears streaming down my face.
You okay?
No, the world's a scary place.
You and your segues.
I know.
Honestly, if you listen to the last episode,
Do you know what I
you
thought
would have
about then? Those scooter things. You and your segues.
Is that the right word?
Yeah, it is, but like,
Just zooming around.
Just got this vision of me and on a Segway. Just zooming around.
I know you love your segues. Honestly. Parked outside.
How do you think I get here every week? Why did I even bother doing my makeup? I'm literally crying.
Do you want a tissue? Now Ro has recomposed herself, almost.
That's a statement. Today we are actually going to be talking about something that's not funny,
No, not at all.
but something that we both feel, and probably a lot of you will feel too, and that is the fact that the world feels like a very scary place.
I think there's so many factors that go into it, but from personal experiences to news to social media, there's just a lot that we get exposed to, and
A lot to feel anxious about.
yeah.
And today we really wanted to delve into that, but obviously first we are going to start with what we do every week, which is starting with our wins and wobbles of the week. Would you like to go first with your win?
I can do. My win is a very wholesome win, I think, this week. I looked after my sister's puppy for 4 days.
Oh my god, she's so cute. I haven't met her.
Yeah.
I'm dying to.
Hopefully soon. She's called Ottie. She's a little sausage dog, and she's just adorable. Like, she literally just wants to sleep on you the whole time and just cuddle, and the amount of love that you can get from a dog, is that making you cry as well?
Start sobbing.
But no, it was so cute. I mean, dogs are hard work, I'm not gonna lie. Like, part of me wanted to get a dog, and now I'm like, I could not handle it at the moment. But she was so cute, so that was my win, because the amount of puppy cuddles and love I had over this weekend, I was living the dream.
Sorry, I'm
living the
currently
dream.
dabbing my nose because I have tears like sitting on the end of my nose.
Do you want a tissue?
No, I'm actually all good.
Okay.
But I just need everyone who's watching and not listening to know that I'm not just sat here wiping my snotty nose on my jumper.
It's tears.
I have a real thing for sausage dogs, and
They're the cutest, I think. Not, well, all dogs are cute, but... Well.
if my dog is listening to this, you're the cutest dog. No, I actually feel like I betray her. Like, the idea of me ever getting a dog that isn't her makes me feel like I would be betraying her, and I just can't think about it.
I think dogs know as well, because my family have another dog as well, and when they brought Ottie home, my other dog's a bit like, what are you doing?
I'm the only one who's meant to be here. What is this?
Exactly, but now they love each other, so it's fine.
Aw.
Maybe B would get used to it.
B is reactive. She would
Okay.
definitely
Maybe
not
she
get used to
wouldn't.
it.
Maybe she wouldn't.
Yeah.
Maybe don't get a dog.
No, I'm not going to.
No, they're a full-on commitment though.
They are a lot. They are a
Yeah.
big tie. Like, if you want to just go out for a day, you have to
Yeah,
know what you're
exactly.
doing with the dog.
They're like children. Anyway.
Well done for looking after it and keeping it
Thank
alive.
you.
Good
Thank
job.
you. Thank you. Proud of myself. Can we talk about your win?
Yes. My win this week was actually really different.
What did you do?
I had a big meeting this week with a really big charity who I'm
Wow.
really excited to start working with. And it just made me feel really hopeful, because I obviously love using my platform for spreading awareness, helping people get through mental health struggles, helping people with recovery. But I always want to take it further and actually make genuine change in the UK's mental health system, because I've been through it and I've not had a good experience, and I want to make actual positive change in the world. And this meeting made me really hopeful that that might be something I'll be able to do, especially in like the coming year. And so I definitely say that's my win, because it feels like I've taken a big step towards something that's going to allow me to hopefully help to make positive change.
Wow. I love the difference there. The fact that you're literally going out into the world and making a difference for something that matters amongst mine's just about a puppy.
No, but the puppy is arguably like
No,
the biggest win.
I'm very proud of you, and I know how passionate you are and how much that means to not only you to know that other people might not have to go through what you went through, but the fact that you're going to hopefully change people's lives is just surreal.
Thank you.
Big pat on the back for you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, sorry to bring you down a notch here, but I'm going to have to ruin the high with asking you what your wobble was.
I'd argue that you're not ruining the high. We're just keeping it real.
We are keeping it real.
Yeah.
That's actually very true. With the highs come the lows,
Yeah.
and that's so normal.
And that doesn't undo the fact that the highs happened.
That's true, and it just makes the highs feel even better.
But on that note,
Okay.
my wobble this week, I would say, and I think this might have been the same wobble that I might have had at some point in another episode. I can't actually remember because this has kind of been an ongoing struggle for me, shall we say. And that is the fact that I feel quite disconnected from social media at the moment. And obviously for some people that would be a really good thing. But where it is the platform that I use to raise awareness, to hopefully help people, to share my life, because I've just sort of taken a bit of a step back from it in the past couple months unintentionally, I feel really disconnected from it, and it's making me more anxious because I know what I want to do with my social media and I can't always just do it because I just feel detached and like out of touch and quite overwhelmed actually whenever I open it and I see other people creating content really regularly, like really good content, and I'm like, oh, I'm falling behind, I'm not doing enough, and I get all freaked out. But I have to remind myself that there is always time, and there is always going to be an opportunity for me to use my voice and get stuff out there, but there won't be if I make myself ill because I don't give myself time to rest.
I was going to say that I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves to just wake up and give it like 110% straight away, where I think you should just ease yourself back into it maybe. Because I know I've done it before where I wake up and I'm not like, right, from now on I'm going to post every single day, I'm going to post 10 stories a day, I'm going to do this, and then you don't do it for a day and you think I've failed and I'm back to square one and I might as well just give up.
Yeah.
But if you feel that. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go.
I was just going to say, I think that's the way with all habits. Like, I find that if I get into a habit and then I break it, I'm like, well, I've ruined it, so I'm going to stop that now.
Exactly, but if you give yourself space to come back once a week or come back twice a week the next week and just ease into it slowly, you'll feel a lot less pressure. But from an outsider's perspective, I have to say, it doesn't feel like that. And I feel like people could be even more connected to you because they wait for an update from you now, so it's even more exciting.
Well, thank you. You're so good at reframing things.
Thank you. It's a little mindset shift for you there.
What's your wobble bin this week?
I'm going to say, well, this week just generally I feel like I've been really hard on myself. Kind of similar to you, kind of not really, like just the constant pressure of feeling like you should be doing more, and it's been making me really stressed, and I physically have not had the time to do more, so it's just I'm just stuck in a cycle of stress because I'm not doing enough, but then I don't have the time to do more, so I'm stressed, so then I'm stressed that I don't do anything. So
how are you not doing enough if you don't even have time to do any more? Like, do we think that this feeling ever really goes away for anyone? Or is it just as a perfectionist, you're forever going to be telling yourself you're not doing enough, even when you're doing arguably too much?
The way that you've just changed the chemistry of my brain. The fact that I don't have the time to do more shows that I'm doing enough, because if I had the time, then I would do it.
Doesn't that just show how wild that mindset is? That you're like, I'm not doing enough because I don't have time to do anything more than I'm already doing. It's like, well...
Like, I'm literally human. I can't function without sleep, and I'm not going to work through the night and not sleep and then not be able to function. So thank you. That was really needed. From now on, hopefully I won't be wobbly about that anymore, because you've really helped me there.
You should have just told me this a week ago, love.
I know. No. But it has just been a little bit stressful and overwhelming and just generally busy. I'm going to say that. Busy.
And in the run-up to Christmas as well, things do get a lot more stressful. But from an outside perspective, you are doing really well.
Thank you.
And it feels like you're managing things, like you're keeping things very cool.
Thank you.
I wouldn't know that you were like crazy stressed.
Yeah, I've set myself 2 days off for us, which has been really nice, and I feel like I've needed that chill time because I haven't really had, I say a day off, obviously so grateful that creating content is part of my job, and it doesn't feel like a day off because you love your job every day, so in that sense I've technically had every day off because I'm not working like a really strict job.
That's just you being really hard on yourself. Come on now.
I need to dig myself out of this hole. But yeah, I haven't had time to actually just be present and exist and like live, and I feel like I've done that this past few days.
Good.
I'm just so conscious that social media is such like a blessing to do. Do you know what I mean?
It really is.
Yeah.
It is also work. It is
is.
not hard work in the way that many other jobs are hard work.
Yeah.
But there is a lot more that goes on behind closed doors than people realise. And
Yeah.
there's a lot more that you do than you even give yourself credit for. Like,
Thank you.
I know a lot of people who would find it really difficult to be constantly bombarded with notifications
Yeah.
and the metrics of how well you're doing. And that's not me saying that it's a really difficult job, because it's not. Come on now.
Yeah.
But you still need to give yourself credit. You are working.
Thank
you can't
you.
sit there and say you've had every day off, because you haven't.
No, that's true. Yeah, I'm so aware of it. But moving on, I feel refreshed. I feel rejuvenated. I'm ready to take things a little bit easier.
Love that. So that was our wins and wobbles. We love to hear yours.
Yeah.
It means the world to us when you guys comment down below and share your wins and wobbles with us, because A, it makes us feel really connected to you.
Yeah.
But it's also really lovely that you trust us with that, to kind of
Yeah.
open up in our comment section and know that it's a safe space and talk about your wins and wobbles. And also absolutely love when you see it, like in the comments, other people commenting with each other and like supporting each other. My heart.
I was going to say, it literally melts my heart just to see everyone come together in our little community. It's so special.
Yeah.
So special.
Oh, I love it so much. I love this community.
Me too.
But on that note, let's move on and talk
Yeah.
about our topic of the week, what is on our minds this week, which is
The world just being a scary place.
the world is a scary, scary place. And this is not us about to fearmonger and tell you what to be scared of. If
No.
you're thinking, oh my God, this episode's going to make me anxious, we're hopefully going to do the opposite.
Yeah.
We're talking about how, as young women, it is scary. You're hearing stories all the time.
Yeah.
You're seeing posts all the time about how dangerous it is to be a woman. And unfortunately, that is the reality. That is life.
Yeah.
But we also need to talk about how to live our lives without being controlled by fear and without letting other people's actions make our lives small and make us scared and make us fear the world. Because when we're scared of everything, our lives become really small and just not fun. And yeah, we want to break through some of that today.
Yeah, I really feel that. I feel like we always have these what ifs just looming over our head, and it's about navigating them, understanding what's possible, what's probable, and just genuinely making the most out of your life without letting anyone else hold you back, because who gives someone else the power to ruin your life?
Well, yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, it is just a thing we have to deal with, and it shouldn't be. When I'm saying it's just a thing that as women we have to cope with, violence against women, like the fear of going outside as a woman, it shouldn't be the way it is.
No.
It categorically should not be like that.
No.
But until it changes, I don't want everyone to be living in fear, constantly anxious. And there are small ways that we can make it easier for ourselves.
Yeah.
Should we have to? No. But, you know, I can't keep saying that.
And it's just frustrating though, isn't it? Like, it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
Because we can't help being a woman.
The other thing is, and I know that we were talking about this before, which is what inspired the episode, it's not just scary in being in the world. Being in the world.
Being in the world, we are definitely
We're in the world. It's not just scary because we're women.
Yeah.
It's also scary because it feels like there are bad things happening all the time.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I've watched the news, to be honest. And that's not me being small-minded and not wanting to know what's going on in the world and like be educated. It's just the fact that there's so much, and like so much that you literally can't keep up with all of this negativity, and it can make it feel like every single day there's so much going wrong and so much to be scared of that you can't escape from it and live in your own life. Yes, we should be aware of these things, but it's also completely okay to just live in your own little bubble and try and navigate your own issues. Like, it doesn't make your own issues, well, it shouldn't make your own issues seeming insignificant, because there are worse things happening in the world. And we've spoken about this before in the sense of comparing your issues to someone else's issues, but comparing your issues to the world's issues is also something that we can do.
Do you know what? I actually do read the news quite a lot,
Do you?
and I think that it's probably quite an anxious habit for me. I check it and check that nothing bad's happening in the world, and I've always been very affected by everything I've heard. Like, ever since I was a child, I had the biggest fear of terrorist attacks. I didn't grow up in a particularly busy city, but whenever I'd go to a busy city, like I remember my parents taking me and my brother to Barcelona
Yeah.
when I was probably a young teenager.
Yeah.
I was absolutely terrified to go on the metro because I was just convinced that someone was going to let a bomb off. I was just absolutely petrified of terrorist attacks, and I couldn't understand, and this is something that I have learned in therapy, that there is a difference between what is possible and what is probable. And when I was actually working through my trauma and my fear of the world,
Yeah.
this was something I had to really face up to. The fact that you can never tell yourself that there is absolutely 0% chance that it's going to happen, because yes, these things are possible. Like, a terrorist attack is possible, a stabbing, a whatever is possible. That doesn't mean that it's probable. And if you live your life based off what is possible,
Yeah.
you're going to have a really small life. And
Yeah.
nothing could ever reassure my anxiety around the world being unsafe, because I was like, cool, you're telling me, yeah, but it's not going to happen to you. You can't prove that. You can't give me a statistic that tells me there is 0% chance that today something bad is going to happen to me. So I had to come to terms with the fact that it's always going to be possible.
Yeah.
Just like anything's possible, just like the lights could blow up right now.
Exactly.
Just like the ceiling could fall in on us. That's
Yeah.
possible. What's the likelihood of it happening?
Probably
So small.
0.0001%.
But if we choose to focus on the fact that it's possible, we're never going to sit up here, we're never going to have this time, we're never going to film the podcast, we're never going to see each other, because I'll never leave my house, because what if I step outside and a tree falls on me? What if someone crashes their car into me? What if someone, like, when you live your life based on all of that fear, you have no life at all.
I can't even say anything to that, because that was just... I'm giving a round of applause right now. A very quiet one.
Thanks to my old therapist for teaching me things.
That's just so true. Everything you've said is so true.
Ooh.
That's my life. Do you know what that has all come together and made me think about is the fact that you can still live your life, and the fact that you've gone through all of that, and that you've come out of the other side now and realised that you can't carry on living in constant fear. And I feel like it'd be really helpful to talk about some ways to navigate it a little bit more, especially as a woman, especially with, it seems like 100 more things happening every single day. It can be so easy to spiral into this just scared little shell. But it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've ever really felt like that either. I haven't felt this fear of the world. So it's quite interesting to hear your perspective. Because I know in episodes before you've said you've had stages like where you felt like you couldn't leave the house because something might happen. But I personally haven't had that.
Yeah, but I do remember earlier in the year when you told me that you felt really uncomfortable getting on the train because you felt like a guy made you uncomfortable.
I think he was filming me. I think he was. There's not been anything that's happened to me up until that point, and from then on I thought it would happen every time I got on the train, because I was like, right, it's happened to me once, and it took me a while to get back on the train. I think the first time I went to London since was when we went to the Spotify event. I'm trying to think, maybe another time, but it didn't happen again, and it probably won't happen again. Or if it does, do you know what? Since then I have got on the train and it hasn't happened again, and it's slowly reminded me, and I'm sure it will remind me every time I get on the train and every time nothing happens, that it was a one-off situation and the likelihood of it happening again is very minimal. And I now should not live my life never going to London again because I'm scared of this thing happening that has not happened in the past 23 years and most likely won't, or very minimal chance of it happening again. So I should not hold back and not live my life now because of one thing that's happened to me in the past.
I think that's really important, because it's very easy to convince yourself that once one bad thing's happened, the world is this awful place and every time you go out you're in danger. That is literally why I ended up stuck in my house, terrified to do things, because I was like, well, things have happened before, so they're obviously going to happen again. But actually every time you go out, just like every time you got on the train, your brain got that bit of evidence and learned that actually just because you're out of the house doesn't mean you're unsafe. Just because you're on a train doesn't mean that there's going to be a man being weird. You need that evidence for your brain to show it that, yeah, these things happen, and unfortunately they happen more than they should, but that doesn't mean it's gonna happen to me.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that our brains hold on to the one negative thing. Even in just like general lives, like I don't know, if you're reading comments or watching the news, it's always negative, negative, negative. You forget, I've probably got the train hundreds of times, if not like 1,000 times, but I now hold on to that one bad thing that's happened. And I think it's just our brains are just wired like that. We just are drawn to negativity, and it stands out, and it can feel like it outweighs the good when it really doesn't.
But that's why the news is the way the news is. That's why you don't get news articles like 100 women safely went out tonight and didn't have anything bad happen to them, because no one's going to click on that. That's not interesting. That's not clickbaity. That's not what people want to see. They want sensationalized news, because our brains are like, I want to know the drama. I want to know what's unsafe. I want to know how to protect myself. I need to be aware. And that's why we go to always click on the negative things, which is why the news puts out more of that, because they know that's what's going to generate clicks and money. And back in the day when people were buying papers, like obviously people still buy papers, but that's why the headlines are the headlines, because they know that our brains feed off that negativity, that like catastrophizing.
Yeah, I wonder why. Why are we built like this?
We just have a negative wiring. I feel like it's probably, from an anxious brain perspective, I do it, I think, to protect myself. So I look for dangers and I look for negativity in everything so that I can preempt bad things happening and stop them from happening and protect myself. So I feel like as humans, it's probably a bit of a survival tactic. Like,
that's it.
if we are aware of every bad thing that's happening to women out on nights out or whatever, we're going to know to avoid those things. And that's why we read it. We think, oh, well, I know not to walk down that road, or I know not to go there, or not to do X, Y, and Z. It is not, this is not me victim blaming. It is not.
No, not at all.
When you're reading stories about women, like, I don't think, well, that's because she walked,
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the way it is. But that's, what I'm saying is that's why we jump on it so much. Like, if you think about back when we were cavemen,
I remember that
not
day.
personally, you would have been watching what happened to other people to know not to do that. Like, it's the whole learning process, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really opened my mind, because I've always wondered why we're so, like, drawn to bad things. Like, even me, I love watching true crime documentaries, and why do I do that? Like, every time I watch one, I think, is there something wrong with me for really enjoying hearing about this, like, really gruesome thing? But then it makes sense that it could be a survival technique, that somewhere subconsciously in the back of my mind I'm thinking, this and this happened for this to happen, don't do that, even though it's literally completely out of your control, and it's never the victim's fault, as we're saying. But it's just so interesting. And it goes back to the whole, if you listen to the last episode on overconsumption, is even the news that's doing that. Like, it's all marketing, it's all trying to get us to feed into this, like, narrative that the world wants us to live in. Like, if everyone lives in fear, then everyone stays in their houses, and then, I don't know, the world's like all controlled to be.
It could turn into a big conspiracy theory very easily.
I feel like I'm falling down a rabbit hole here, because my mind's
you're like,
just
they want to keep you in your house, they want to they want your money.
It's true. I feel like everything just leads back to money, and that's quite sad.
It does. We live in a capitalist society, and it sucks, but
we can get out of it.
And what we were gonna share are ways to carry on living your life despite the fear.
Yes.
Obviously, as a woman, it is important to protect yourself.
Yeah.
There are ways to go out and be safe, because we can't eliminate the fact that there are bad people out there, and it does suck. Doesn't mean things are likely to happen.
Yeah.
But things that have helped me, I feel like, first of all, going out with people.
Yeah.
Always making sure I'm going out with people so that I can still go out and do things.
Yeah.
I do things a lot by myself now, but not at night.
I was going to say, just, like, ease up into it as well. Like, if you are stuck in your fears, you can ease into it slowly, and then go out with people, understand that it's okay, nothing's happened. Then go out with less people, understand it's okay. Go into busy spaces on your own, so that you have people around you, so that you know someone would see if something happened. And then you can keep teaching yourself slowly that actually this is fine. And then maybe you can go out on your own one day, and I know you have.
That's what I gradually did. I did a gradual kind of exposure therapy. And let us know if you want an episode about exposure therapy, because I get a lot of you obviously won't get a lot of questions about exposure therapy, because you never post about it.
No, I've never done that.
I get a lot of questions about exposure therapy, and if you would find that interesting, let us know.
I'd be interested to.
Wow.
I would.
Episode coming soon. But yeah, I kind of just had to gradually teach myself by going out with people, and then by going out by myself in the day, building up the amount of time I was out, building up the distance away from my house that I was, not always taking my dog, things like that, just giving my brain that evidence that actually I can go out and something bad is not necessarily going to happen.
Yeah, that sounds really helpful. Is there a but coming?
I was going to say, but I do actually really want to take a self-defense class, because I feel like I actually used to do karate as a kid.
Wow.
But I can't remember any of it. But I feel like as a woman, I just feel like I would feel safer maybe if I was out at night and I knew self-defense. I know that's not going to do that much, but
that could be quite fun. Should we go on a little self-defense?
Should we do a self-defense?
Self-defense class.
Yeah, let's sign ourselves up.
Just do some karate.
I don't know if
it's probably not the
best.
Karate
feels like it's not that aggressive, I feel. I'm thinking fist straight to the balls.
Yeah, why not? Or the nose. I feel like the nose is a good place.
Oh, ow, yeah.
Yeah.
Donk.
Not that my punch could do any damage.
I feel like we were like, we're going to give you nice wholesome tips, and we're like, punch him in the
everyone
balls,
up.
punch him in the face.
Another thing I would say that I guess I've done because I don't look at the news, but to delete the news app from your phone. If anything comes up on your TikTok about the news, what's going on in the world, just you're not interested, click that not interested button. You have to be really conscious about what you're consuming and make the effort to make it a positive space. Even generally, it doesn't have to be news related. It can be just something that doesn't really align with you. Just making the effort to change the algorithm and make it a space that you feel comfortable in, I think is so important. And even like limiting your time on news apps, or just understanding that the news is putting this out there to scare you.
It's fear mongering. They're always
Yeah.
going to try and draw you in with the scariest thing. And also the fact that the news is all of the stories from all over the world.
Yeah.
It's when you take it in and you think it's like really concentrated and that it's happening like constantly.
Yeah.
There are bad things happening all over the world, of course. There's also
billions of people.
7 billion people in the world, so the odds are very, very low, and it's important to keep reminding yourself of that. If you are, seeing things happen on the news, like, it doesn't mean bad things are going to happen to you, because the likelihood is that they're not. Moving away from talking about the news and being a woman, etc., I feel like my worries around the world kind of being scary extends even into meeting new people and trusting new friends, because I had friendship issues as a kid and people broke my trust as a child, and I feel like now I go into every relationship, friendship, with this like hesitation, this sort of like, oh, who are you going to end up being? Like, are you going to end up being a different person and being unkind to me? And I actually think that as I've gotten older, more recently, I'm literally 22, I'm still very young, but maybe in the past couple years I've let myself open up a bit, and I've let myself sort of accept that I know I've been hurt in the past and that I didn't have good experiences with friendship when I was a kid, but there are lots of really good people in the world, and
I feel like this is aimed at me.
You're one of them.
Thank you.
It's the same to me, I'm just the best.
No, but I know what you mean when fear, it doesn't come from what other people experience, it can come from your own experiences and things that you've gone through in the past, and then you think they're going to happen again. We do just cling on to the negatives, and I don't know, I went to an all-girls school. I know you've had friendships. Girls can be mean as well. Girls can be mean. That's just growing up.
I'd say arguably girls are more mean than boys.
Probably.
Just in different ways.
Yeah, girls can be, what's the word, like a little bit sly.
Conniving.
Yeah, they can be. And in like the later years, when I was in secondary school, I pretty much lost all of my friends. And since then, I found it so hard to make new friendships. Like, I was, must have been 15, 16? I'm 23 now, and you're the first proper friend I've had since then. Just putting it out
That
there.
makes me want to cry, because you're so lovely.
Thank you.
And you're so easy to be around.
Thank you. I think it's just hard to meet people once you're a bit older and then open up. When you've grown up with people, you're more likely to trust them because you've been through so many life experiences with them. But when you leave school and then you don't meet anyone, and then you have to make the effort to actually be friends with someone, like, it's not because you're around them 24/7. You have to make plans with them, and you have to slowly ease into this comfortableness.
Yeah, and you
It's
have this
hard.
fear that they're just going to end up being horrible like people used to be at school. But
yeah,
honestly, if you enter every friendship or relationship with this like fear and holding back that people are going to turn against you and be horrible, you'll never let yourself be your full self. And I realised I was doing this, like, I was kind of putting on a mask and being someone I kind of wasn't, because I was so worried that people were going to stop liking me, just like what would happen at school. But a lot of the stuff that happens in secondary schools, or wherever you are in the world, it might not be a secondary school, high school, stuff that happens when you're a teenager, a lot of that is to do with a kind of herd mentality, and people really follow what other people are doing. And if someone decides not to like someone, everyone else decides not to like that person, because they all want to not be left out and they all want to keep the friendship group. So actually, as people grow and mature, they change a lot. I don't think there are many adults who would behave now the way that they behaved in school, but it is easy to cling on to the memories of the way you were treated. I know that I do sometimes.
Yeah, no, I feel that, and it can take time, a lot of time. Time heals, I guess you can say that, but it takes a lot of time to understand and open up again. But I just want you to know that it will happen at some point. There was a point in my life where I thought, this is it, I'm never gonna have friends again. And even at this point last year, I think you can probably scroll back, there's a post on my Instagram where I was like, I haven't got any girlfriends. Like,
I'm here.
You came and saved the day. But I want to give you hope and let you know that it will happen. Even, I don't know, I'm 23, you could be 26, you could be in your 30s. You can still find your people. Your people are out there. There's no time limit on when you have to find your people, and then it's too late. You'll always find people. Yeah.
And if you're in a situation where, you know, maybe you've started uni recently or something and you're finding it hard to make friends, or maybe you've joined a new school and you don't feel like you're fitting in, just know that it's not a you problem. You're not the issue. There are so many factors that go into struggling with friendships, and it doesn't automatically mean that you're like annoying or no one wants to be friends with you. It can literally be that other people are anxious and don't know how to talk to a new person, or that they struggle trusting people, or just so many things.
I think it's really interesting as well that we don't necessarily get to choose who we're around. Like when I was at school, I thought all the people in my school are the only people I'm ever going to meet. And if I don't have my best friend in school, my friendship group in school that are going to then grow up with me, and then, I don't know, they always say like your school friends are at your wedding and all of this stuff. Like you are put in this sea of people and they're not the only people that you're ever going to meet. At uni, you're put in a group of 30 people. If your best friend is not in that room, that's absolutely fine. There are billions of people in the world, like we've said. Your best friend might not be in your uni class, but they might be at, I don't know, I'm trying to think of hobbies. Where would you meet people? At a tennis class. Your best friend might be at a tennis class. Like you have to also put yourself in situations to meet new people if that's what you want. Like you can't expect them to come to you as well.
Yeah,
This just took a turn.
No, I think it's easy to sort of be like, why have I not got anyone in my life? Why am I not making any friends? And it's like, well, I'm not actually doing much to meet people.
It's not like someone's going to knock on your front door and say, hi, do you want to be my
Let's
friend?
be besties.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is about making that step to
Yeah.
put yourself out there, to know that what's the worst that's going to happen. Someone's like, I don't really want to see you. And then you go, okay, that's a you problem. You're missing out.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll find the next person.
Yeah, but there are so many ways to meet new people. Like you said, joining clubs, going to new activities, just starting conversations with people. I feel like we've really lost the art of conversation in modern society. Like, why is nobody talking to anyone anymore?
I mean, we are a prime example. In the first episode, one of the first ones, we were like, how do I start a conversation? But it's true, and it's so easy for us to say the stuff, but I also know, like right now, going to a club and speaking to someone is something that I wouldn't do yet. And that's a bit out of my comfort zone.
But you know what? I feel like part of the reason that I don't make conversation with people is because sometimes they don't make it back. Like, there's a lot of times where people have dogs and I'm like, oh, what breed is it? Or, oh, your dog's really cute. Like, can I say hello? And they're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
But then that proves that it's their problem.
Yeah.
And some people are just more closed off.
But I feel like maybe we need to just try more, but and not let the fear of rejection stop us. Yeah. Fear of rejection is a whole thing. That's an episode in itself. I was going to say,
the moment you said rejection, then I was like, whoa.
Yeah. But I mean, what's the worst that can happen, really?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it, because it's comparing the best thing that can happen when you put yourself in that situation to the worst thing. The best thing outweighs the worst thing by far. I'd rather take the chance that I could meet my new best friend than walk away scared and I lost that chance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like that event that we went to in February when we met.
Yeah.
We could have both been too anxious, decided not to go.
Yeah.
Been too scared to say hello to each other.
Yeah.
We would never have known that if we'd have just had a conversation, we would have clicked instantly.
Exactly. It's just weighing up what you really want to happen out of a situation.
Curiosity instead of fear. Because your body a lot of the time doesn't really know the difference between excitement and nervousness. So
I've heard about this, like the butterflies that you feel in your stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it feels kind of similar in your body.
Yeah.
And obviously people with anxiety are going to be like, I'm quite aware that I'm not excited. Like, I get that. But try and use your fear as a kind of curiosity, and going into situations like, what if this is terrible? What if this is awful? What if I meet someone that I really click with? What if I meet my new best friend? What if I find the future love of my life? Yeah. I always think about it in dating terms as well. Like, it's really hard to meet people nowadays because
you don't actually go out. I mean, I met my boyfriend out in public in a random space, which I feel like doesn't happen that much.
I feel that proves it was meant to be.
Exactly.
You in public? No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
But no, it's true. Like, you just don't feel the urge to go up to people anymore, ever, because it's just not the done thing. So we should change that. We should start a revolution.
I'm going to start walking around going, hi, lovely, good morning.
To everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to sum that all up, I like the idea of thinking about what ifs, but not focusing on the negatives, focusing on the positives. What if
everything works out?
exactly?
And also, what if the new people that I meet are nothing like the people that hurt me in the past? And what if they just have good intentions? And what if
Yeah.
everything's fine? And what if they're actually really nice to me? And what if the things that happened to me when I was younger just happened because I was young and people were just figuring out how to go about life and we were all just kids?
And they've probably learnt their lessons now as well, and they probably wouldn't do that now either.
Mm.
Like, you have to make a mistake to learn from it.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that things people have done is okay, because it's definitely not. But we're all human.
I really feel that with this episode. Like, I want to make it very clear that we, A, are in no way telling anyone that it's your fault. It's not your fault that you feel anxious about going out and meeting people. It's just a fact that you will have to face that anxiety and do it. It's not your fault if bad things happen to you at all. The world sometimes has things in it that happen that shouldn't happen.
Can I say something quickly?
Yeah.
I just want to say it's also not your fault if you have done something wrong to someone as well. I mean, it is technically your fault, but it could also be you trying to understand the emotions that you're feeling, or trying to end a friendship that you don't want to be in anymore, but you don't know how to do that correctly, so you've done something that could upset someone else. It's okay to make a mistake.
You're a human. You're not always going to be 100% kind and perfect and do everything right.
Yeah.
You are going to make mistakes. You have emotions. Sometimes they'll go out of control. Sometimes you might hurt people. I'm not saying go around hurting people. That's fine. But I'm just saying don't be hard on yourself if you have been.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. I feel like we've spoken about a lot there. A lot. We've gone on a few tangents. We've addressed the whole topic of the world being scary, but not actually that scary, because the chances are very minimal, and we should not let this anxiety control our lives.
True.
Yeah.
Should we move on to what's on your mind?
Yes, we have asked you for some questions, and I'm just going to jump straight into the first one. First one is, how do you stop the spiral of obsessive thoughts that you know are not true? I feel like this is very topical because it can relate to so much more than the things that happen in the world. We can have so many fears that hold us back from so many things, and it can be easy to tell ourselves that this is 100% definitely going to happen, when deep down we know that it's not, and we know that the things we're thinking most likely are not true. So how do we rationalise those in our heads?
Well, I feel like the first thing that really struck me about that question was that the person said, when you know it's not true. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that even though your logical brain knows it's not true, like you have the statistics, you know deep down that you're overthinking, overreacting, whatever, your anxiety brain is never going to be on board with that. Your anxiety brain always wants to think the worst. It always wants to catastrophize. It wants to protect you. It wants to know what to look out for. And I think it's okay to acknowledge and not get annoyed with yourself for the fact that there is this part of you that just can't believe that you are safe and that bad things aren't going to happen. But with the obsessive thoughts, I think, okay, for me, this might not work for everyone, but there's multiple ways that I kind of deal with when I can feel myself spiraling about something I'm really anxious about. The first thing is I ask myself, is this a right now problem? Is this something that I need to be anxious about right this second? If I have an event in a week and I'm like, I'm definitely going to fall down the stairs and throw up everywhere and start crying and my makeup will go badly and my hair will look bad and I'll rip my dress and I'll flash everyone, like... If I'm thinking that a week before and I'm spiraling and I'm obsessively thinking about it, I just stop myself and I'm like, is this a right now problem? Do you really need to be panicking at 9 a.m. on a Monday about something that's happening?
Yeah, because at that point,
now,
you're going to ruin your whole week, probably for nothing, realistically, and you're just going to regret it. You're going to get home from this event and think, what on earth was I worrying about?
Which happens every time, can I
Yeah, every single time. But yeah, you don't want to waste time worrying about things that you can't control and things that you can't change. This is a blessing and a curse. I am very strongly believe that everything happens for a reason, and if something's going to happen, there's a reason for it, even though there may not seem like it in the moment. I mean, there's probably not a reason that falling down the stairs is going to positively impact your life, but there are good things that happen out of bad things as well. And you can think back to when someone left your life, and in that moment you thought it really was the end of the world and my life's ruined and I'm never going to get over this. But then a year later you realise actually they left my life for a good reason and I'm a lot happier now and I found better people. So although it will feel hard in the moment and it's okay for things to feel hard and it's okay to worry about things, there probably most likely is a bigger picture. as well.
I think it's actually really hard to get on board with the whole everything happens for a reason thing when you've experienced things that make no sense.
That's true.
But I do tell myself, like, everything is happening for a reason. Like, I do believe that things do happen for a reason. Like, there is a path, you know, the butterfly effect, all of that. Also, when things are really horrible and make no sense, in my head, I'm like, what was the reason? Because this brought nothing good to my life. But what you just said about good things coming out of things, if you are someone listening to this who's like, I can't get on board with everything happens for a reason, I feel like it's maybe easier to go, what good is going to come of this? Because there will be something good. Like, even stuff that I went through and I thought, this is so unfair. Why have I been the one that's had to go through this? What did I do to deserve this? What is this for? I wouldn't have been able to help people with their struggles with anorexia. I wouldn't have been able to be in a position where I could help people start recovery. Like, there are so many things that I wouldn't know and I wouldn't have learned had I not gone through bad things. And I think that doesn't make it feel okay or good that I went through them, but it's nice to make peace with it in the sense of it was horrible, but these things happened and they gave me this good thing.
Yeah, maybe we can address that everything happens for a reason quote is very situational.
Yeah, but
it can
I think
apply
it's
to
really
things.
important,
Yeah,
though.
you can apply it to things that it makes sense for, but it's also okay to be angry as well at things that it doesn't make sense for.
Yeah.
So yeah, take it with a pinch of salt.
Basically, whatever works for you.
I feel like another thing, I haven't done this, but just trying to think of things that would work for me, would be to just write down the possible outcomes of a situation. Like, I'm trying to think of an example of, I don't know, go into a new club. Yeah, okay, you could fall over and hit the tennis ball at someone and break a window, but you could also find a sport that you also really love and make good friends and get in a good routine and find a new hobby that you enjoy. So just doing like a pros and cons list.
Yeah.
And then really being aware that the positive outweigh the cons by far.
Yeah, like a negative what if and a positive what if.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I like
just
that.
yeah, but just being really strict about it. Like, okay, yeah, there are negatives there, but at the end of the day, the world wouldn't end if those negatives happen, and I'd be a lot happier if the positives did happen. So just being quite hard on yourself.
Yeah.
But also being gentle with yourself.
A bit of
In
both.
the same breath.
Yeah.
A bit of balance.
A bit of balance. That's what life's all about.
But yeah, if I was
Yeah.
to be in a situation where I was holding myself back out of fear, I think that's what I would do.
Yeah, I really like that. And
Yeah.
I also feel like with the whole obsessive thoughts thing, it can be really hard to stop yourself from spiraling. But I find it helpful to kind of tell myself that actually the spiraling isn't going to change anything. Like, say you're out and about and you're really anxious being out of the house and you're walking along the road and you're like, oh my God, what if someone's behind me? Oh my God, what if a car drives into me? Oh my God, what if a plane falls out of the sky and crashes onto, like, all of these things that aren't going to happen, but you convince yourself they will. What I've had to tell myself in those moments is, okay, that might happen, and if it happens, I deal with it.
Yeah.
But I can't live my life inside the house. And I'm like walking along and I'm like, oh, I want to be safe, I want to be inside. What if these bad things happen? And I say to myself, okay, but what's the alternative? The alternative is that you live a really closed off life, and that's not worth it.
No.
Like, things could go really well. You could have an incredible day, or you could stay in the house because you believe that makes you safe.
Yeah, and just not give yourself the chance. Like, you deserve the chance to live a life that you want to live. And this is going to sound a little bit harsh, but if something was to happen to you, it's already too late. And not in the sense that it's already too late as in, like, death. That's really... No, okay,
No, because I actually know what you mean.
Yeah.
Because I sometimes have to tell myself this. If I'm like, I've had not actual paranoia, but like worries about being stalked, or I've been like, oh my God, what if somebody's out to like kill me and wants to get me? And I just kind of have to tell myself, like, if someone is that desperate to hurt you, it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, like, it is out of your control.
Yeah, like, sometimes things are out of your control and you just have to say, okay, this is out of my control and I'm not going to ruin my whole life trying to protect myself from something that I literally cannot protect myself from. Like, if you want to protect yourself from every single cause of possible harm,
You're going to have to lock yourself in a box.
and even then,
You're still
there's going to be issues.
Susceptible to harm.
Like, at the end of the day, you are never going to be in a position in life where you are 100% in control of every single
Yeah.
thing ever, and accepting that and being like, okay, I'm not in control of everything ever, but I'm still okay.
Yeah.
And I can still have a good life, and I can still have a good time, and bad things won't happen because I'm not in control.
That's such a freeing thought.
Mm.
That really just takes a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Control what you can control. Forget about what you can't, because you cannot change people's minds. You cannot read people's minds. You cannot stop someone from doing something. Like, that's their problem. Even with like friendships, if someone doesn't like you,
That's their problem.
exactly, it's out of your control. You don't
Yeah.
want to change yourself to try and control their thoughts and control how they treat you, because what life is that? Like, you're not yourself. You're never going to be happy in this friendship because you have to put on an act every time you're around that person. So just be the person that you want to be. The right people will come to you. Good things will happen to you.
Life is going to follow its path. There's no
Yeah.
point trying to manipulate and control your future and overly worrying about everything, because you deserve to be happy, and that's not what's going to make you happy. And I feel like, to conclude, yes, the world is a scary place. Yes, everything can be scary if you look at it in that way. But the world is also an incredible place. There is also so much good out there. There is also such incredible things that could happen to you. You could have the most amazing day if you choose to go out and open your arms to life and be like, hey, I'm going to live, and I'm not going to let anxiety and fear keep me trapped. And yeah.
Yeah, your best days haven't happened yet. I know that for a
Yeah.
fact. I've had some incredible days, but I still know that there are so many more incredible days ahead of me. And I'm going to give them the chance to happen. Because we deserve that. You deserve that.
Yeah. And you can sit there and be like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't control the future, and I'm scared, and I don't know what's going to happen. Or you can be like, oh my God, I have no idea what's going to happen. I
And I'm
can't
so
control the
excited.
future, which means that like anything could happen, and that's so
Yeah.
great. Like,
and you can go about each day just living in the moment rather than living for this future version of yourself and trying to control what path you're going down. You can just take each day as it comes, because you can't control tomorrow.
don't waste your precious time worrying about something that is likely never going to happen.
Yeah.
And also, breathe.
Breathe. Can we breathe? I need a moment. I feel like that was a lot. Yeah,
But we had to say a lot to get
a lot.
the point across.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
exactly.
mean?
Have we reached the end?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let us know if this was helpful.
I know we only answered one question, but I
Yeah.
feel like we spoke so much about that one question that it kind of
Made
makes
up for
sense.
it. Yeah, made up for a couple.
Mm.
If there's anything else on this topic that you'd like us to address, let us know. Maybe we'll go into it in a little bit more detail. That was a lot of detail, but I feel like it's such a big topic because it addresses obviously the world, it addresses friendships, it addresses control. I am a bit of a control freak. I'm just going to admit that here. Going on a bit of a tangent, but I know that I am, so I like to feel like I'm in control. But it's good to know that I can't control everything.
Yeah.
So I can't try and control everything, because at the end of the day, it's pointless.
Gonna make yourself miserable.
Exactly. So we could even do a whole episode about that.
Yeah.
Just control in general. I feel like that'd be really helpful. So let us know.
Let us know what you want to see, what you want more of, what you've enjoyed.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star review. Give us a follow. Give us a subscribe. Leave us a comment.
Do all of those things.
All of those things.
Thank you.
And you will be entered into a £45 million giveaway.
Whoa!
I'm lying. I'm sorry.
I
I'm lying.
wish. Can I enter?
I don't have 45 million yet. Maybe if we get some really good sponsors for the podcast, get us a £45 million deal, and then I'll give it to you. Okay, on that note, we love you lots. We'll see you next week, next Sunday, back in the comfort zone.
Yes, you have been in the comfort zone with us for a long time.
Yeah, hopefully. Or maybe it's your first week.
Yeah, maybe it's your first week.
In which case, hello, we love you.
Yeah, we've got lots of episodes for you to go back and listen to as well. But we love this little safe space that we have, and we can't wait for you to join us back here next Sunday.
Gonna hop on my Segway and go now.
I'm going to go eat some pizza. I don't know about you.
Let's on your babes.
Okay. Pizza versus pasta. Comment. You're a fighter.
No, you can actually do polls on Spotify. Pizza v pasta.
If you got to this point, you would understand what the poll means. If you watch like 10 seconds of the podcast, people are going to be like, what on earth?
Like, how are we getting
Is
onto
this
pizza and
poll?
pasta from The World is Scary?
Yeah.
The World is Scary. Pizza v pasta.
I'm really intrigued.
Yeah.
That's going to be the highlight of my week, just checking this poll. Okay, on that note,
Love
see
you.
you later.
Bye.